Chapter 4. Spaced Repetition, Beating the Forgetting Curve, Sam and Lila. The night before his vocabulary test, Sam sat at his desk surrounded by open notebooks. He flipped page after page, whispering definitions into the quiet room. The clock crept toward midnight, but he kept pushing. By the time he closed his book, exhaustion tugged at his eyes. Yet he felt confident. Every word seemed lodged in his mind. Lila's week looked different. On Monday, she set a timer for 15 minutes, reviewing just a handful of words until she could use them in a sentence. On Wednesday, she circled back, repeating the process. By Friday, she tested herself again. Quick bursts, each time a little easier. Her study sessions were short but steady, like planting seeds and watering them over time. Test day told the story. Sam recognized a few words but stumbled on many more, his late-night confidence fading in the bright light of the classroom. Lila, by contrast, recalled the words smoothly, as if they were old friends. And weeks later, Sam's memory had nearly vanished, while Lila's words still lived at her fingertips. Both worked hard, but only one worked with the brain's rhythm, turning scattered reviews into lasting memory. Here's the secret. The brain forgets quickly if you study once, but if you return to material at intervals, you interrupt forgetting and strengthen memory. Spaced repetition is the key to durable learning. The Science of Spacing. Hermann Ebbinghaus, 1913–1885, discovered the forgetting curve, a steep drop in memory right after learning. Without review, most material is lost within days. Research since has shown how to fight it. Cepeda and colleagues, 2006, found that spaced study, reviewing material across time, significantly boosts retention compared to massed cramming. Landauer and Bjork, 1978, explained why. Each review after a delay makes retrieval harder, but that difficulty strengthens memory. Harry Barrick, 1979, demonstrated this with language learning. Students who practiced vocabulary across weeks retained it for years, while those who crammed forgot most of it quickly. The lesson is simple. Spacing transforms fragile memory into lasting knowledge. How to use this? If you tend to cram, switch to reviewing briefly within 24 hours, then again a few days later. Each review strengthens recall. If you need reminders, use calendars or apps that schedule reviews automatically. If you want peak performance, use digital tools like Anki or Quizlet that build spaced repetition into the system. Parents can encourage kids to study in short, regular sessions instead of last-minute marathons. Teachers can design cumulative reviews across the semester so that students return to material long after the unit ends. Reflection. Do you study once and move on, or do you return to old material? How would your memory change if you built in review at the right times? Closing insight. The brain is built to forget, but also to remember, if you space practice. Studying once is fragile. Studying again later is powerful. Spaced repetition doesn't just beat the forgetting curve, it rewrites it. Chapter 5. Interleaving and Mixed Practice. Diego and Hannah. Diego studied for his math exam by solving 30 equations in a row, all of the same type. By the end, he felt confident. He thought, I've got this down. Hannah studied differently. She mixed algebra problems with geometry and word problems. It felt harder. She made mistakes switching between types, but she kept practicing. On test day, Diego was thrown off by questions that didn't look like the ones he had drilled. Hannah adjusted quickly because her brain was used to switching. Both practiced. Only one trained for the real test. Here's the secret. Repeating the same thing in a row feels good in the moment, but it tricks you. Real learning grows when you mix problems and subjects, a method called interleaving. The Science of Interleaving. Doug Rohrer and Kelly Taylor, 2007, showed that students who mixed math problem types learned more effectively than those who practiced the same type in blocks. Nate Cornell and Robert Bjork, 2008, found that interleaving also improves inductive learning, recognizing patterns across categories. Michael Birnbaum and colleagues, 2013, discovered why interleaving makes students practice discrimination, deciding which strategy applies, rather than mindlessly repeating. Robert and Elizabeth Bjork, 2011, call this a desirable difficulty. It feels harder now, but that difficulty builds stronger, longer-lasting memory. The lesson is clear. Blocked practice feels smooth, but interleaving prepares you for real-world challenges. How to use this? If you usually stick to one type of problem, try mixing. Solve a few algebra problems, then a geometry one, then a word problem. If you need support, keep mixes small, 2 types at a time, so you practice switching without overwhelm. If you want mastery, rotate across subjects in one session. A little math, some science review, then vocabulary. This forces your brain to shift gears. Parents can encourage children to mix practice in homework, studying spelling, then math, then reading, instead of clumping one subject. Teachers can design homework and quizzes that shuffle problem types, preparing students for unpredictable test formats. Reflection. Do you practice one thing until it feels easy, or do you push yourself to mix? How might your learning change if you train to adapt instead of just repeat? Closing insight. Blocked practice feels smooth but fragile. Interleaving feels harder but makes knowledge durable. If you want learning that lasts, don't just repeat, mix. Chapter 6. Active Recall, the most powerful study habit, Priya and Daniel. Priya studied for biology by rereading her notes 3 times. Each pass made the words look more familiar. Daniel studied differently. He closed his notebook and tried to write out everything he could remember. Then he checked what he missed and tried again. It felt harder, but each attempt strengthened his memory. On exam day, Priya recognized terms but struggled to explain them. Daniel recalled details with clarity because he had practiced remembering. Both studied. Only one trained memory the way it really works. Here's the secret. Your brain doesn't grow from rereading. It grows when you try to recall information without looking. That struggle, the moment you reach into memory, is what makes learning stick. The science of active recall. Henry Roediger and Jeffrey Karpik, 2006, demonstrated that students who tested themselves retained more knowledge over time than those who just reread. Jeffrey Karpik and Janelle Blunt, 2011, found that active recall even outperformed concept mapping, a popular deep learning strategy for long-term retention. Pooja Agarwal and colleagues, 2012, applied retrieval practice in real classrooms and found that students who practiced recall performed significantly better. Mark McDaniel, Roediger, and Kathleen McDermott, 2007, confirmed that repeated testing produces stronger recall than repeated studying. The evidence is consistent. Active recall is the single most powerful study habit. How to use this. If you struggle, try the cover and recall method. Cover your notes, explain what you remember out loud, then check what you missed. If you need support, use guided prompts like, "What are the 3 main steps? What's an example?" to recall in smaller steps. If you're aiming high, take timed practice tests or write full, free recall essays from memory. Parents can ask their children to teach back a lesson, which forces recall in a fun way. Teachers can integrate low-stakes quizzing into daily lessons, exit tickets, short oral reviews, or quick online quizzes. Reflection. When you study, do you stop at rereading, or do you practice recalling? How would your learning change if every study session included testing yourself? Closing insight. Active recall is not just checking knowledge, it's building it. Every time you reach for memory without looking, you strengthen it. Don't just read your notes. Close them, recall, and let your brain do the work.